Hey everyone, this is Karen Waxman, founder of Retail MBA. Today we'll be talking about selling your wholesale furniture. So if you have a great wholesale furniture product and you're trying to sell to stores, this training will give you some things to think about in regards to selling wholesale furniture. With that said, let's get started on today's training. So let's talk about home and hardware retailers. Home and hardware retailers are retailers that obviously focus on home products, home goods, stuff for the house. Also, hardware is specifically like tools and stuff for building, creating things, and so forth. So, a home and hardware retailer could be a Home Depot, Lowe's, and so forth. And we like to create trainings on individual retailers. So, we've done trainings on selling to Home Depot, Lowe's individually, but let's just talk about that type of category as a collective whole. So home and hardware typically have a lot of shelf space, which is great for you because you could seriously get your products tested out in those stores more easily. I find that the home and hardware category is generally a little bit easier than some of the other categories to sell to because they have larger store formats. If you sell to a GNC, they really have very small stores. They don't have a lot of room to buy stuff. And so they don't pick as many products. With the home and hardware, you have more room, so they test more stuff. So that's exciting. So it's somewhat easier to sell. I've seen tons of products being sold to those types of retailers more than some of the other ones, meaning with the new guy, with the smaller company, they're willing to test new products. They have more room. I actually had clients who had baby kid products that actually got sold into Home Depot. They buy a variety of different things, which is very surprising. You wouldn't think that they seriously are buying all sorts of really creative products. So don't ignore home and hardware retailers, even if you don't have technically a product that's ideal for that mass audience. You typically think of certain types of people going to those stores, but if we got a kid product in there, then anything's possible. I have had several clients actually sell children's stuff into that store, as well as consumer electronics and all sorts of things, even clothing. So again, I love selling at chain stores because there's so much money to be had, but also there's so much variety. And so all we're really saying is don't ignore this type of retailer just because you would assume that only home and hardware products are sold in there. So that's another thing to consider. Another thing about home and hardware products is that the larger ones like Home Depot, they actually work with a third party for you if you want to sell to their website. Some retailers fully own their website, meaning they are buying the product, they have buyers for that particular store, and then they do the whole thing. Like they're actually handling the picking of the products and everything, and also the shipping deliverability with the vendor. Whereas, say, Home Depot works with a company called Commerce Hub, which is a third-party distributor. So they basically outsource some of their online stuff, which means that you actually have to work with a third party in order to get your stuff on HomeDepot.com. The reason that's unique is that with that, they charge you a little bit more of a fee. You're dealing with a third party. You have to fill out a lot of paperwork. It's going to be on HomeDepot.com, but it is working with a distributor. So in that case, that is different, right? And so there are certain retailers that actually outsource their online perspective. And I just wanted to give you that example. Commerce Hub basically requires you to ship products in a very particular way. And so they have a whole setup that you have to do if you want to sell to HomeDepot.com. This could change as of now. They've been doing that for years, something to consider. The final thing about selling to home and hardware retailers is that they don't care as much about packaging for certain types of products. So if you're selling a product that could just be in a box versus the packaging and so forth, they're more inclined to not be as difficult on certain product categories. So get in your car, go to those stores and see how your packaging needs to be relayed. Is a product similar to yours? Does it have any real packaging, or is it just in a cardboard box with some words on it? Those types of products like furniture, certain things, they don't care as much. So definitely look at your particular category to see, because that is actually very nice if you have to deal with less packaging issues and fears and so forth. packaging obviously traumatizes people when they're selling in stores. And so that does come up. And I just wanted to get you to think about that. Anyways, those are some things to consider about selling to home and hardware retailers. If you want to learn how to approach, pitch, and sell to them, how to get them to buy, please take a look at what we do, retailmba.com. That is our entire business. We are a retail consultancy that helps people generate money and get success with retail chains. We walk you through how to do that. Karen Waksman, Retail MBA. Thanks so much. Hope this helped.